Will there be pain?
No, I made sure of that.
That's good. I'd hate to die like your son.
This scene is one of the most devastating moments in Game of Thrones history. Most people remember it as just an old woman's final act of defiance, a dramatic revenge line before she dies. But reducing this moment to a single sentence means ignoring the genius and the psychological warfare behind it. What we witnessed here was something extraordinary. A woman whose army was destroyed, whose castle had fallen, whose entire bloodline had been erased, completely disarming the man who came to execute her in her own chambers, with nothing but words. The moment Olenna Tyrell drank that glass, she did not just end her own life. She showed Jaime Lannister that the family he sacrificed everything for had been destroying itself from the inside over a lie. To understand why Jaime walked out of that room looking like a man whose world had just collapsed, you need to see the trap Olenna built with every gesture, every silence, and every carefully chosen word, and the devastation it left in Jaime's mind. We are in Season 7, Episode 3. The Siege of Highgarden is over. The Lannister army has wiped the Tyrells off the map completely. Jaime Lannister walks into that room with a very clear picture in his head. He expected to find a broken old woman, trembling with fear, waiting to surrender, begging for her life. He was certain the balance of power was entirely in his hands. But there is one visual detail that most viewers miss, a detail that defines the entire atmosphere of the scene. Olenna Tyrell is dressed entirely in black. This is not just an old woman's daily outfit. This is mourning. She is wearing black for her grandchildren, Marjorie and Loras, who were murdered when Cersei blew up the Great Sept of Baelor. The woman sitting at that table is not just a defeated lord who lost her lands. She is a grandmother who lost her grandchildren. And against that kind of loss, the massive army outside her walls, the shining swords, the royal titles, none of it means anything to Olenna, because there is nothing more dangerous in this world than a person who has nothing left to lose. And in the cruel, selfish universe of Westeros, no deadlier weapon has ever been invented than a mind with nothing left to protect. Olenna had already accepted death. Her only concern was writing the ending of this story the way she wanted, and inflicting maximum damage on her enemy on the way out.
Did we fight well?
Pay attention. Even though Jaime is the one who enters the room as the victor of the battle, Olenna is the one who speaks first. She makes the first move. Her question is this: did we fight well? This is not a question that comes from a victim begging for her life. This is a queen, defeated in battle but not in dignity, asking the opposing commander for a military assessment. In the very first second, Olenna tears apart the executioner-victim dynamic and pulls the conversation to a table where two equals are sitting across from each other.
As well as could be expected.
Jaime is shaken by this composure. He respects it. He answers honestly, like one soldier to another, and then Olenna strikes again.
Never our forte. Golden roses, indeed. Your brother and his new queen thought you would be defending Casterly Rock.
She mocks her own house sigil, a rose, and her own army's failure on the battlefield. Why would she do this? Because she refuses to let Jaime feel proud of his victory. Her message is clear. You beat us because we were never fighters to begin with, Jaime. She diminishes his great military triumph, makes it smaller in his own eyes. Masterful perception management.
The truth is, Casterly Rock isn't worth much anymore. Well, it is to me, but my fond childhood memories won't keep Cersei on the throne.
So you just let them take it?
As the conversation continues, Jaime explains how he left Casterly Rock as bait, emptying its supplies and trapping the Unsullied there.
Now, they won't be able to hold it. Your and Greyjaw's navy burned their ships. We emptied the larders before we left. Eventually, they'll be forced to abandon their position and march all the way across Westeros.
And you took your army, your real army, and went to where they weren't.
As Robb Stark did to me at Whispering Wood.
He honestly admits he learned this tactic from Robb Stark, who once captured him using a similar maneuver. He says you should always learn from your defeats. Olenna immediately catches this and responds with a tone that is almost mocking.
There are always lessons in failures.
Yes. You must be very wise by now.
My father always said I was a slow learner.
If he was so clever, why didn't he take Highgarden the moment your gold mines ran dry?
With a single line, she demolishes the image of the flawless, all-knowing Tywin Lannister in Jaime's mind. She throws it in his face, that his family has been collapsing from within for far longer than he realizes, and that the great Lannister power they all trusted was nothing more than an illusion. Jaime falls completely silent. Because he has no answer, there is nothing he can say.
I suppose I'll be able to ask him myself soon enough. No more learning from my mistakes, eh?
The conversation arrives at the inevitable end, the manner of death. Olenna points at the sword on Jaime's hip.
How will you do it? With that sword?
This sword, Widow's Wail, was forged from the melted Valyrian steel of Ned Stark's greatsword ice. It was given to Joffrey, and after his death, it passed to Jaime. When Olenna asks the name of the sword, a look of extraordinary shame appears on Jaime's face, a look that should be studied in film schools.
That was Joffrey's sword, wasn't it? Not that he ever used it. What did he call it?
Widow's Wail.
Widow's Wail. The most embarrassing, most pathetic name a sick, cruel boy could give a sword. Jaime, as a knight, as a warrior, feels deep shame at this name. Olenna does not hold back. She looks at him with that cold, unflinching stare and says exactly what everyone is thinking.
He really was a cunt, wasn't he?
And the most devastating part, Jaime does not object. Not with a single word. He does not defend his son. His own son, the former king of this realm, is being openly insulted to his face, and Jaime stays silent because he knows it is true.
I think we're done here.
How will it happen?
Now we witness the scene's greatest turning point.
Cersei had several ideas. Whipping you through the streets and beheading you in front of the Red Keep. Flaying you alive and hanging you from the walls of King's Landing.
Jaime lists the horrific execution methods Cersei had planned for Olenna. Being whipped naked through the streets, being beheaded in front of the Red Keep, being flayed alive and hung from the walls of King's Landing. Cersei wanted this old woman to die screaming, her dignity destroyed. But Jaime steps in with pride.
I talked her out of those.
He pulls the poison from his pocket, pours it into the wine, and offers the glass to Olenna. In that moment, Jaime sees himself as a noble, fair knight, one who shows mercy even to his enemy. He believes he is doing Olenna a tremendous favor, giving her a painless death, making her indebted to him. But what Jaime cannot see is that he has just walked straight into the web that Olenna's ancient, brilliant mind has been weaving since the moment he entered the room. Olenna used Jaime's desire to be an honorable knight, his ego about showing mercy, as a weapon against him. She manipulated his own nobility. She played him perfectly.
Will there be pain?
No, I made sure of that.
That's good.
Olenna drinks the glass without a single moment of hesitation. She knows that in a world as dark as Westeros, this is the most comfortable, most painless death she could ever receive from her enemy's hand. Cersei wanted her screaming on the walls. Instead, Olenna is drinking wine in her own chambers, dying on her own terms. The cards could not have been played more perfectly, and now the poison is in her blood. This is the moment when every rule in the room ceases to exist. Once the poison enters her veins, Jaime cannot take back this execution. He cannot torture her. He cannot behead her. He cannot change his mind. Olenna has become completely untouchable. The balance of power shifts entirely to the old woman in that single second. The moment she has been waiting for since the beginning of this conversation has arrived. And Olenna unsheathes her claws.
I'd hate to die like your son.
She begins to describe Joffrey's death at his own wedding. That horrible, violent, choking death, painting it for Jaime like an artist painting a portrait. Every detail, every gasp, every moment of agony.
Clawing at my neck, foam and bile spilling from my mouth, eyes blood red, skin purple.
And then she delivers the blow. The silence that follows is deafening. Jaime Lannister did not just learn the identity of his son's killer in that moment, he realized something far worse. He realized that the woman he had dedicated his life to, Cersei, the person he sacrificed his honor for, had been going mad for years over a lie. And that lie had made his family destroy itself from the inside.
Must have been horrible for you, as a king's guard, as a father. It was horrible enough for me. A shocking scene.
Because Cersei believed Tyrion killed Joffrey. Because of that belief, the Lannister family was torn apart piece by piece. Tyrion was sentenced to death by his own family. Because of that, he killed his father, Tywin. And when Jaime helped Tyrion escape, he became a traitor in Cersei's eyes. The magnificent collapse of House Lannister, Thassa, the family that tore itself apart from within, was set in motion by a single hand, Olenna Tyrell. Jaime walked into that room as a victorious commander. But the man who walked out was mentally shattered, crushed under the weight of the mercy he himself had shown. Olenna Tyrell lost the war. Her army was destroyed, her castle fell, her bloodline was erased, but she took the last word, the last laugh, and the greatest victory with her when she died. Because in this merciless world, the sharpest weapon is not a sword forged from steel, it is the truth, whispered to the right person, at the right time, in exactly the right way.
Tell Cersei. I wanted to know it was me.
This is what you missed. If this scene hits differently now, if you see the genius behind Olenna's final move, subscribe and tell us in the comments. Was Olenna the smartest player in the entire Game of Thrones? Or was there someone even more cunning? We read every single one. This was the other timeline. Until next time.